This happened in late October of 2021. I remember the exact date because it was right after my midterms ended, and I just needed to get away from everything. The stress, the noise, the routine, all of it. So when Kareem suggested a camping trip, I didn't even think twice. It was supposed to be simple. Just me, Kareem, and Yusuf. 3 friends. One quiet forest. No distractions. No people. Just nature. At least, that's what we thought. We left early in the morning. The drive itself took around 4 hours, slowly taking us away from the city and into areas that felt more and more isolated. Buildings turned into small houses, then into nothing but long empty roads. By the time we reached the forest, it felt like we had stepped into a completely different world. There were no signals on our phones, no sounds of traffic, just trees. Endless trees. Kareem parked the car near a dirt trail that led deeper inside. There was a small, almost faded sign near the entrance, but we didn't pay much attention to it. Looking back now, I wish we had. The hike inside was longer than we expected. At first it was easy. We joked around, played music from Kareem's speaker, and just enjoyed the calm atmosphere. But as we went deeper, things started to feel off. The trees grew taller, closer together, blocking more and more of the sunlight. Even the air felt heavier. Yusuf noticed it first. "Why is it so quiet?" he said. I didn't think much of it at the time. But he was right. There were no birds, no insects, nothing, just our footsteps. We finally found a small clearing and decided to set up camp there. It was surrounded by trees on all sides, but there was just enough open space for a tent and a small fire. Everything felt normal again. We set up the tent, gathered wood, and started a fire as the sun slowly began to set. For a while, it actually felt peaceful. We sat around the fire talking about random things, old memories, dumb jokes, plans for the future. It felt like one of those nights you never forget. But then, the sun went down, and everything changed. The darkness in that forest wasn't normal. It wasn't just the absence of light. It felt heavy, like it was pressing in from all sides. Our small fire suddenly felt like the only thing keeping us safe. And beyond it, there was nothing. Just darkness. That's when we noticed it again. The silence. Complete, total silence. No wind. No leaves moving. No distant sounds. Nothing. It didn't feel natural. It felt wrong. Around 11 p.m., we heard it. A whistle. Soft, slow, and far away. Fee? Fee? At first, none of us said anything. We just looked at each other. Kareem was the first to react. "It's probably someone else camping," he said casually. But something about it didn't feel right. We hadn't seen anyone for miles. Not a single person. The whistle came again. This time, closer. Fee? Fee? It echoed through the trees in a way that made it impossible to tell where it was coming from. Yusuf stood up, looking into the darkness. "Should we check it out?" he asked. I immediately shook my head. "No, just ignore it." But Kareem laughed. "Relax, it's probably just some guy messing around." Then the whistle stopped. Completely, like it was never there. For a few minutes, everything went back to silence. And somehow, that felt even worse. Yusuf grabbed a flashlight. "I'm just gonna take a quick look," he said. "Don't go too far." I remember saying that. I remember the exact moment, because that was the last time we saw him. He walked toward the trees, the beam of his flashlight cutting through the darkness, and within seconds, he disappeared. At first, we didn't panic. We thought he'd be back in a minute. Then 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 15. No sign of him. No footsteps. No voice. Nothing. That's when I started to feel it. That deep, uncomfortable fear. Something wasn't right. Then suddenly, we heard it again. The whistle. But this time, it wasn't far away. It wasn't even close. It was right behind us. Faye! I felt my entire body freeze. Kareem slowly turned around, his hands shaking slightly as he lifted the flashlight. The beam moved across the trees behind us, and then stopped. There was something standing there. Tall, too tall. It didn't move. It didn't make a sound. It just stood there, watching us. We couldn't see its face clearly, but we knew it was looking at us. Then it whistled again, right next to us. That's when we ran. Straight into the tent, zipped it shut, and didn't move. We didn't sleep that night, not even for a second, because the whistling didn't stop. It kept circling us, slowly, patiently, sometimes far, sometimes right next to the tent. At one point, it sounded like it was right outside, and then we heard something else. Footsteps. Not normal footsteps. They were too slow, too deliberate. Like something was walking around us, trying to decide. We didn't say a word. We didn't even breathe properly. And then it stopped. Complete silence. We stayed like that until morning, when the sun finally came up. We rushed outside. Yusuf was gone. There were no signs of him. No footprints. No broken branches. Nothing. Just his phone, lying on the ground, about 20 feet away. Kareem picked it up, his hands shaking. There was a recording, saved at 11:17 p.m. We looked at each other and pressed play. At first, there was nothing, just silence. Then the whistling. But this time, it was different. Closer, clearer, and then Yusuf's voice, breathing heavily, running, and then he screamed. The recording cut off. We didn't stay there any longer. We packed everything and left immediately. We reported it. Search teams came. They looked for days. They found nothing. No body, no clues, no explanation. Just nothing. It's been years now, and I still hear it sometimes. That whistle, late at night, when everything is quiet. Fee, fee. And every time I hear it, I remember that night. And I know one thing for sure. We were never alone in that forest.